Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this week. My name is Tanya, and I'm the Marketing Manager over here at Struxsoft Solutions. So just for those of you who are new with us today, our Star Solution MWF, or Metalwood Framer, is our Revit-based BIM framing solution that allows users to automate Revit walls, floors, ceilings, and trusses for light gauge steel and also for wood. So today our Revit expert, Steve, will walk you through new features that are available in the latest Revit release. So some of the new features that we'll cover are native 2D PDF exports, grids in 3D views, show all core only in plan view, export schedules to CSV by default, preserve callouts when deleting parent views, and much more. So just before we get going, I'd like to remind everyone that at the end of the webinar, if we have time, we'll be taking a couple of live questions. In order to be selected, please press the raise hand button on the dashboard. Just please also make sure that your mic is working correctly. If you'd prefer, you can also ask questions throughout the webinar in the questions tab of the GoToWebinar dashboard. For those questions, we'll make sure to get back to you by email within 24 hours. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to hand off to Steve now.
Okay, so I'm Steve. I'm going to be the one showing you some feature from Revit 2022. So not all of them, though this year we have a lot of new feature available for us. I'm going to try to show feature that can impact every discipline, but some of them might be discipline specific. Okay, so let's start. We're going to start with a native 2D PDF export. Okay, so we know that before we had to use a PDF engine in order to create PDF. So we had to press Control P. And by the way, you're going to be able to see all the key I'm doing in the corner here. So nothing going to be hidden from you guys. Okay, so you just have to click here. In that case, I have blue beam and do the PDF this way. But now we have a new 2D PDF built in directly into Revit. So instead of doing a print, so we just have to do an export. So basically we go here, export, and we're going to see that we have create PDF file. Okay, so looking at this, we're going to see we have a couple of new features. So first, we're going to see how this portion look a lot like the print one. So current view, visible portion, selected view sheet. So if we select a view sheet, we're going to be able to edit the set. Okay, so work a little bit the same, but we have some filter. So now we can sort 2D and 3D view. Before it was only views and sheets. And except of that, everything else would be the same. And there we can export the settings. So let's say we want to save everything we did here. It's going to be exactly the same as the one we have in the printing dialog. We're going to see that we can also change the location. So where we want to put our PDF. Let's say in that case, let's say if I do that PDF, fit to page, I can change zoom, center, everything is the same, have the same option here. I just have to press export. And then you're going to see the PDF going to be created. So if I go to the desktop, let me see. Oops. So the desktop, you can see that I have a regular PDF, exactly the same as it was export. So all the native function gonna work also. So the text gonna be recognizable, and it's gonna be a vector base. If you choose vector base, you're gonna be able to use it in other software. Okay, a quick thing that we have more that can help us when we do the export. So let's say I go back to, oops, I go back here to export. When I'm choosing the set, okay, I have the option to add a preview. So I'm gonna be able to see the sheet. So I don't have to go back to the project browser and choose my view. I'm gonna be able to see everything from here. Okay, so the next thing is going to be share 2D view. Okay, so in 2021, we had the ability to share 3D view. Now we can share 2D view. So it's going to work exactly the same. So you just have to go to collaborate, You can see here, share to the view. Okay, so I did it earlier. So you can see I just have to press share view. It's gonna ask me to save. So I just have to say share view, and then I'm gonna be able to name that view. And then it's gonna be the view that I want. So let's say I call it test share. So it's gonna take a couple of seconds. You're gonna see the operation while it's doing it, but you can still work in Revit. Okay, so it doesn't stop your Revit. So if you want to look at what it looks like, it's gonna be like this one. So just have to click here. So you can say, you can copy the link and you can give it to anyone that have an internet browser. Okay, so basically the reason they create this function is to interact with people that doesn't have Revit. So you're gonna be able to share, it won't be an export, it's gonna be a shared view. So it's gonna be basically that view that you share to somebody, and they're gonna be able to see it in their browser. So if let's say I say view in browser, you can see that we're going to be able to see the view. Okay, so the view is going to be it's going to be like the Autodesk viewer that's going to take control of the view. And when it's over, you can see here. And you should also receive our email when it's done. So you can see it's going to be the Autodesk viewer that's going to give you the ability. So you're going to be able to do measure. So everything is going to remain. So you can do all the measurement. You can, if it was a 3D view, you would be able to home the view. And if it was a 3D view also, you will be able to navigate to the view. But the 3D portion came last year. Okay. Next, we're going to look at the schedule. Okay, so we have a couple of enhancements in the schedule itself. So let me start with the first one. So the first one would be split on multiple sheet and auto split. Okay, so let me just create a schedule. Let me go new quantity one. Let me choose, let me take a door schedule. Okay, so it's got door schedule 3. I'm going to put a couple of parameters. And then I'm going to say, okay. Okay, so you're going to see everything look the same, but we have this portion that's new. It's going to be split and place. Okay, so basically, looking at the schedule, it's pretty long, so it would be difficult to put that schedule on one sheet. Okay, so what we can do, we can say to Revit, I want this schedule to be on multiple sheets. So I click here. And here I'm going to see all the sheets available. So let me say I want to put it on A1, A2, A4, and A5. Okay, and I'm going to say split evenly. Okay, I could have specified a height in millimeters. And then, and millimeter, that's because that's the unit of the project. It's going to be the unit of your project. And then here I'm going to say split and place. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to see is going to be the first sheet, and I'm going to be able to place where I want to locate that schedule. Okay, so it's a pretty big schedule. Okay, so let's say it's too big for the page, I can put it here. So every sheet is going to be at the same location. So if I go to A2, you can see it's at the same location. Okay, so no longer we have to adjust schedule so they can be at the same place. It's going to do it automatically for us. Okay, so at this point, if let's say I do some modification, let's say I don't like this row, I can just do stuff like that. It's the same schedule, even though it's on multiple sheets. Let me drag some of those. And it's going to be a little bit smaller. Okay, so at this point, I can just go and look at, let's say I go to A4. Okay, so you can see there's no data for that sheet. Okay, so it's not long enough. But here I have some data here. Okay, because when they created the schedule, it was longer because of the multiple row. So I can just move it like this. So if I move this up, so I'm gonna have some content on the other sheet. Okay, so it's like it behave the same way, but it's on multiple sheets. So again, if I move this up, I'm gonna have some on that sheet. If I delete this one, so this one's gonna be the fourth portion. So I'm gonna go dot schedule 3. So this one is this portion. So if I delete it, okay, it's still gonna remain here. So I still have to place it. I always have access to the master schedule, but all the portion, they're gonna be divided this way. Okay, so that's how we can place with auto split and place. Okay, there's a manual way also. So let's say, let me go back on the same view. Okay, so let's say at one point I need to cut the schedule and it was only 4%, but I need 5%. I can always use that little symbol here. And once I'm going to use that symbol, you're going to see that it's going to create another schedule. It's going to split it, and you're going to have another number here. So you see now it's 5. Okay, so if I go back to my first view, this one was a longer one. I can go here and click here, and then it's going to be 6. Okay, so that's a way that we have now that we can control the schedule. At any time, I can remove that portion, just have to delete it. It's still going to remain here, so this one's going to be probably it's going to be the 2 to 6. So I'm just going to go back to that view, and then I could just drag this portion and put it here. Okay, only thing you need to know, it's when you use the split and place function. Okay, so it won't be available anymore for that particular schedule because it's already split. Okay, so once it's split, you won't be able to see it. Before you split, you're gonna have the ability to do it. Okay, I'm just gonna create another schedule. Let me create a wall schedule this time. Okay, so before 2022, if we had to search a parameter here, it could have taken a lot of time. When the office I've been using Revit for a long time, they have a lot of parameters. They add share parameter, project share parameter, family share parameter, and all those parameters, when they want to put them in a schedule, sometimes it takes time to search for a particular one. So you can always use the first letter like this, and it would bring you directly to the letter. But sometimes there's a lot of them, and most company they're gonna use a suffix with the name of the company. So let's say I'm searching for the length from my company. I would in case I would have to search for S Struxoff length, but everything would have Struxoff in front of it. So the letter to go faster to one portion of the list, it could be effective until a certain point. But now we have a search parameter. So let's say I'm searching for length. I can just press length 2 letter and I can find it directly here. Okay, so now it's pretty easy. I can just press 1 letter and I can see directly what I'm searching for. And also, they add also filters. Okay, so if let's say I want to filter some of the parameter, I can just go say I want only to see the built-in parameter, only the built-in gonna be shown, project parameter, share parameter, family or project, they're gonna be shown this way. And then we can choose the discipline, and we can choose what kind of value that parameter is. So sometimes it can be useful. We are not sure the name of the parameter, but I know it was an area parameter. Okay, so it's area. Let's say I'm not sure of the parameter. I know it was a length parameter. I can just press length. I'm not sure, but I know it was a text parameter. Okay, so I just have to go search for text, and all the text parameter gonna be here. So it's easy to sort. Okay. Okay, other function that we have now in the schedule itself. Now we can add the workset parameter. Okay, so let's say I add some parameter to that schedule. Let me say all. Okay, so let me add family. Oops. Okay, family type. Now I can add workset. And let me add something like length. And let's say mark. Okay, so I add a couple of items to the schedule itself. So you're going to see our schedule. So now we have the ability to see the work set. Okay, so we can sort to the work set, we can filter to the work set. So we can change the work set directly also. So it's just a click like this. Okay, we are always going to have the same limitation. So we cannot do multiple rows at the same time. So we have to use the I can see the tab feature. Okay, so let's say I want to modify all of them to that work set or specific work set. I just have to select them like this. So I just drag. And then I go back to a floor plan. And then you can see that the 15 that I add is still selected, and then I can change the work set from here. Okay, so this portion will work the same way. But now we can add the work set to the list. New thing also we have this here, it's the ability to filter using the family and type. Okay, so this one is simple. Before 2022, family and type wasn't in the list, so we didn't have the ability to sort, to filter by family and type, but we could sort. Okay, so some of us have find a way to bypass this limitation, but now we don't have to create extra parameter to sort in a way. So we can now do it directly from the family and type. Okay, so that's a good thing. And also we have a new feature. So let's say I go to the mark. So I'm going to go to formatting. So you can see here we have the multiple value indication. Okay, so now when we have multiple value, instead of writing nothing, now you can see that it's going to write whatever we want. Okay, so the default would be varies like this. So I can say varies, or I can put a custom text. Okay, so in our case, we're going to put Steve as a custom text. Oops, like this. And also we have a project setting. Okay, so that means every time we have multiple value, because it doesn't work only in the schedule itself, it's going to work everywhere where multiple value didn't work this way. So if we are in a tag and we have point two stuff that doesn't have the same indication, so now you can see it's going to have the multiple indication value. Okay, so let's say I add some parameter. Let me add some stuff here. Just gonna add a couple of them. Oh, I don't know why it's writing coffee. Let me see. Copy that letter here. Okay, I'm getting warning because it's the same letter. It doesn't matter. But now, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna collapse that schedule. I'm gonna go back to sorting. And from here, I'm gonna say, oops, sorting here, and I'm gonna say, use the, let's say, use the family as the first, and I'm gonna remove this. Okay, so now you can see, instead of writing nothing, now you can see it's Steve, and it's also written thanks, because if I go to my manage, and I go to additional setting, and I go to multiple value indication, okay, so that one is a new one. used to stop here. And now you can say, so that's going to be everywhere is not overwritten, it's going to be written thanks. Okay, so just to be grateful that we have this feature now, so we can write thanks. And now since those column wasn't overwritten, so it's written thanks. Okay, so that's another function that we have now. Okay, so if we go to the tags, okay, so let me go back here. I'm gonna close a couple of windows. Let me go to the view itself. Okay. So from now we have a couple of new features for the tag. So first is going to be the angle. Okay, so we can use the rotate function to do angle. So let's say I want to rotate this. I can just press like this. And then I can do the rotation. Okay, so now the rotation is considered. So that means it knows that it's 674 degree. Also, I can just click on whatever tag and put direct data. Let's say I want 98 degrees. It's going to do the rotation for me 98 degrees. Okay, so no need to use rotation anymore. We can do it directly from here. And it's going to remain at the same location, unless we need a specific rotation point. Okay, so we might have to do it manually, but now we can do it directly like this. So now we have another feature. We have multiple value intensification. Okay, so let's say I have, and often this can be using with the wall. So let's say I have the wall, the tags. So I'm going to use the tag feature. So I'm just going to tag my wall. Okay, so if that wall is the same, so basically what we people do usually is to put another tag here and then put the tag on top of the other one. Okay, so when they are lying on top of each other, they are like one, but if one move, we need to move the other one. So it could be a lot of coordination. But now we can just say, I just added this wall. I want to add this one. So you can see a plus, and that's by default. I don't have to do nothing. I just have to click on this wall, and then you can see the other tag on appear. Okay, so we are able to move it, and they are going to remain attached to their host like this. We can add other ones. So let's say I add another wall. Okay, so this one is another type. Okay, so basically if I add this wall, so that means it's going to be multiple valued. So I'm going to have another thing that's going to appear. So in that case, it's thanks, because this one is not the same type, okay, as you can see. Okay, so if let's say I want to remove this one, you can see when it's added already, I can just click on it with the minus sign, and then it's going to come back to where it was. Okay, so it's pretty easy to manipulate. So you can move the elbows like this. Okay, so it behave exactly as how you expect a tag to work. Okay, so if you put it in a situation that it doesn't like, okay, so you're gonna have stuff like this, so you have to be careful. Okay, so that would be the multiple value indication. Other thing that we have, since we can have multiple value indication, we need a way to, let's say, for some tag to say how much item was selected. Okay, so maybe not for the wall, but let's say now that the feature exists, maybe people are going to use it this way. But let's say I want to know how much wall I have selected with that tag. Okay, so at this point we cannot know unless we follow all the leaders. Okay, so I'm just going to edit that family. Okay, and I'm going to add this parameter key that is called host count. Okay, so if you go to your label, so you can see that you have the walls, and then now you have the one called multi-leader tag. Okay, and the only one that's there is going to be host count. Just have to bring it in your tag itself, in your label, and then it's going to look like this. Okay, so I could have removed this and just put a number like this. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. Might want to have it on the other line. Let's say just going to put a break, so that's going to ensure me that's going to be underneath my current label, and then I'm just going to load it into the project. Override, yes. And now when I have two, you can see, but more than one, I'm going to see the number of items that have been added. Okay, so we can do crazy stuff like this. Now, on the other feature that we have now we can tag curtain 1 mullion. Okay, so basically what's happening is we have a new category called for the tags called the curtain wall mullion. Okay, so basically if let's say I want to tag those, I just have to go annotate. Okay, so I can tag it individually, so I can just go like this and tag it if I want. I can also use the tag all not tags like this. Okay, so you can see curtain wall mullion, no leader, and they're all gonna appear. Okay, so all the mullion can be tagged now. Okay, to continue, so now we have new flexibility with the revision. Okay, I'm just gonna go in view, revisions. Okay, so basically it's the same here, but here we have the numbering portion is different. Okay, so now you see the screen's a little bit different. So you have alphanumeric, numeric, and then you can edit them. Okay, those are the one by default. Okay, I'm just gonna create a new one, so I can call it whatever I want, and then I can state which kind of number I want, which number it start, the number of digits. So it's more a revamp of how it was, so it's easier to understand this way. And for the alphanumeric, so this portion you can choose all the alphabet character that's gonna be the first. And if let's say some offices they like to put AA, BB, they double the letters, you can just go this way, or you can remove one to do like this. You can add a new one. Let's say you want to put X at this point. Okay, so you can do whatever you want, and it's going to follow this logic that you put in the custom sequence. Okay, so now we have a new feature in the filters. Okay, so the view filters. So let's say I go to VV, filters. Let's say I create new one. Okay, so I have some already created there. So filter 1 and filter 2. Now we can add the phase in the filter itself. Okay, so here you can see filter wall created phase equal to existing. So I can choose the phase as a item to filter. So it's easy to see if everything is on the right phase creation phase. And if let's say something is demolished, sometimes we're not the view could be like a second check. Okay, so let's say I add those filters. So I have the one, this one's going to be for the existing phase created existing equal to existing, and this one is phase created equal to new construction. Okay, so let me add those two. Okay, so I'm just going to put some color. Okay, and color, usually the pinkish color is popular, so I'm going to use this one. Again, solid sphere. And people that doesn't like pink are just going to use a blue one to equal it this way. Okay, so now we have two color. Just apply it. So you can see this one, it's a new construction. So if I change the phase created to existing, so it's going to change color. Okay, so it's a way to look at your drawing with color with the phase. Okay, so it can be also useful when you have a lot of phases in your project, phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can put them all in a different color and you can be able to see if everything is at the proper location. Okay, that's for the filters. Okay, other function we have, it's a grid in 3D. Okay, so this one took a lot of time to come into Revit. I don't know why. They might have a reason for it. Okay, so they brought the level a couple of years ago. Now we have in 3D the levels also. Okay, so if I go to the default 3D view, okay, so you can see how the level are shown here. Okay, so looking at this, so it might get crazy. So why would I have all the level like this? So they added a new feature also that would be show grids. Okay, so when you're in a 3D view, you can look at this, show grids. Okay, so here you can choose the grid you see on your 3D view. Okay, so that's a little bit too overwhelming. So we're just going to choose one. And now it makes more sense. We could choose the one on top, or if let's say we have a couple of grid that doesn't go on all the portion of the building, we can activate those also. Okay, again, the feature is going to be exactly the same as a level or a grid on our 2D view. So you can modify the extent. You just have to drag the handle like this. And you can do whatever you need to do. You can set a scope box so that portion is remain the same. Other feature we have now, it's improve auto coloring for the color scheme. Okay, so let's say I go to one view. If I look at here, color scheme, okay, so this portion is more for mechanical and architecture. Let's say I choose room. Okay, so usually when you create color scheme, the color would always come this opaque. Okay, so those are dark colors. Sometimes it's difficult to read the text on top of it. So we had to do a lot of manipulation or changing all the color altogether. Okay. Okay, so now if let's say I duplicate this one and choose something else like a base finish. Okay, maybe not this one. Let me go to name. Okay, so now you see all the color, they are lighter color when you create the color. Okay. Okay. I'm just the messenger here. Okay, you can see it doesn't work properly. Two of them are still dark color. Okay, I would say this feature is not as new and at the point of the technology as they intend them it to be, because as you can see, it doesn't work properly. And if really it was that good, why would I still have the default one come like it was? Okay, so I think we have to wait for 2023 for this one to be a little bit more refined. But still, it's gonna be faster when you create one. As you can see, this one worked. Okay, because there was nothing when I created, so that's kind of a strange one. But as you can see, you're gonna have color that a little bit more lighter. Okay, new feature, and this one can be useful for our MWF user. Let me remove the filter in order to see the wall a little bit more clearly. So I'm just gonna select those two filters, remove, and then I can press OK. Okay, so at this point, if you look at the wall, you can see the wall, this wall, I have two jeeps on one side and one on the other side. Okay, sometimes we don't, and when we're framing the wall, sometimes we don't even need to see those finished layers. So what we can do, we can go in VV, and in VV, we go to wall, we just have to press the little plus sign. And from here, we can see that we have a new option. It will be non-core layers. We can just uncheck it and they're just gonna disappear. Okay, so we have a wall, but we don't see the layer that are not the core layer. Okay, people that maybe doesn't know what the core layer are, is the layer that you have put in the core portion. If you go here, edit, You see core boundary, everything you put here gonna remain. Stuff that are not here can disappear. Okay, so now we have a new feature. We can export CSV directly. If I go to our schedule. Okay, so before we only had one text export option. So if I go to export, schedule gonna be the last one at the end, before the end. Schedule, and here we can choose CSV or text delimited file. Okay, so basically it's the same thing. So just this one, it's a native extension that can be opened with Excel. The text you can open it with Excel, but you have to save it to this format in order to remain our Excel format, because this one is just a text file. But the delimiter are the same, so at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same thing. So we can save, I would say, maybe 5 to 10 seconds per schedule. Okay, in a career of 30 years, that can adds up. Okay, so next we can look at the preserve. We can preserve callout when deleting parent view. Okay, so just gonna show you this one quickly. So basically, if let's say I have a callout, okay, in that case I have this callout. Okay, so this callout, I can see the information for this callout. I can say where I want it to be shown. Okay, parent view, intersecting view, or I can say the parent view. I can set it to none. Okay, so meaning if I set it to none, that means if I delete that parent view, which be that the view I just opened, this callout gonna remain. Okay, so if I don't set it as none, so that means if I try to delete this, okay, I'm just gonna delete. You can see that message gonna pop up saying that do I want to delete that callout also? Because it's depending on that view, that's the parent view. So if I say make the callout view independent, like set to none, so that means that view will remain in your project. Okay, so it might have happened to you, maybe not, but when you're working on a project, sometimes there's view that irrelevant relate on that view. You cannot delete that view because we delete your other views. So now we can disassociate the view, delete that view, and now we have the callout can remain as its own view. Okay, other thing we have new family category. Okay, I don't have a list for them, but it's for more for mechanical stuff. So there's new families for them. We have a new, this one is not really a new one. It was there before. I think it came in 2019 or 2021 or 2021. This one, it was a preview before. Okay, so load Autodesk Family from the cloud. You can see the cloud symbol. Okay, so this one was there before, but it was until 2022, it was a preview. Okay, so that means if it didn't work, they call it preview, so you don't have to tell them that doesn't work. They know, they just want to show it to you. Okay, so now it's not a preview anymore, so it should work properly. Okay, thing you can do, all your search remain here. So let's say I search for casework. Let me choose something else. Let's say I do another search here, door. Okay, so if I go back, you can see the other search remain here. So you can go back here, you can press the home to go back the home. You can choose from here if you want to search by category. If you have something else like I don't know, you search something that's the specific size, I don't know. Okay, there's nothing 1080. Okay, but you can search, you can filter by category. Okay, so it's the same as just clicking on the category underneath. And that's it. So it's taking the data from Autodesk directly. It's the out-of-the-box family that's usually come with Revit. And I think that would be it for today. Okay, so we went through a couple of new features. Some of them are some of the most interesting one. So that's it for today. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. So it looks like we have time to answer a couple of questions. So I'd just like to remind everyone that if you'd like to pose a question live, please raise your hand now by clicking on the hand icon in the control panel. Just also please make sure that your audio is working correctly. And just while we wait for any potential questions to come through, just like to let everyone know that the recording of the presentation will be sent through tomorrow. As always, you can also find it on our social media channel, a little later today. And if you'd like to set up a one-on-one demonstration, or if you have any follow-up questions after the session has ended, we highly encourage you to reach out to our team. Our contact details will be provided along with the recording tomorrow. All right, so we'll just give it a couple of seconds, see if anything comes through. All right, that seems like that's a wrap for today. So for any questions that may have been submitted through the chat, we'll make sure to get to you as soon as possible by email. It usually takes about 24 hours. And that's it for us. We'll now be ending the webinar. Just want to say a big thank you to Steve, and also thank you to everyone who attended. Have a great day.